By 2028, the train will reach Thane, and by 2029, passengers will travel seamlessly between Mumbai and Ahmedabad.
The Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail corridor is starting to look less like a bullet train and more like a very expensive, very slow-moving punchline. Modi promised the country's first true high-speed rail, a sleek Japanese Shinkansen flying across states at 320 kilometers per hour. A new era in transport, a future of progress. But here we are, over a decade later. And the only thing moving fast is the project's price tag. This thing is so delayed that even old Bollywood remakes seem fresh by comparison. To understand how we got here, you have to rewind to 2015. Japan stepped in with its world-famous Shinkansen technology, an extremely generous loan with a 0.1% interest rate, technical support, training, even project management expertise. Basically, Japan held India's hand like a very patient parent helping a toddler cross the road. But even Japan didn't expect the toddler to sit down, take a nap, and refuse to move for the next 10 years. What was the first major problem, you may be thinking? Land acquisition. In India, acquiring land for infrastructure is like trying to order food in a restaurant where nobody wants to serve you. People protest. Court cases pile up. Bureaucrats drag their feet. Corruption seeps into every step of the project. Entire villages say no. And suddenly, your fast train turns into a slow-motion headache. Some states didn't even hand over land until years after the project started, and even today, patches are still disputed or under negotiation. Then there's the technology issue. Japan came in expecting a partner. Instead, they got a student who didn't bring a pencil, didn't do the homework, and still expects to pass the exam. India simply didn't have the trained talent, engineering experience, or high-speed rail know-how. So Japan had to train hundreds of Indian engineers from scratch. They even brought Indian engineers and project workers to Japan to show them how real high-speed rail works. But back home, progress was still painfully slow because the systems, supply chains, and construction culture weren't ready for something this advanced. Now what about the cost? Oh, that's ballooned too. Originally around $17 billion, now estimated much higher, twice as expensive by some estimates. And that number is still rising. Inflation, delays, disputes, redesigns, you name it. India expected a Shinkansen. At this rate, it might end up with the world's most expensive local train. But perhaps the biggest question isn't the construction, it's the demand, or rather the uncertainty surrounding it. Will people actually use it? The Mumbai-Ahmedabad route isn't exactly Tokyo-Osaka or Beijing-Shanghai. These are not corridors packed with millions of business commuters every day. Meanwhile, aircraft already cover the route cheaply, and buses and trains offer low-cost alternatives. So who's really going to pay premium prices for a high-speed ticket? And will those passengers be enough to pay even a fraction of this project's massive loans? Because let's be real, the low earnings of these workers probably mean that a lot of them will not be able to even afford a ticket. Now here's the part Japan is reportedly frustrated about, and that is that India's infrastructure track record isn't great. Major projects get promised with fireworks and speeches, but the reality, bridges collapse, deadlines evaporate, highways crack, airports take forever, flood defenses fail, and the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train is just another entry in India's long diary of, "We'll finish it next year," or the year after maybe. Japan, which runs one of the most punctual rail systems on Earth and is known for its discipline, is now stuck partnering with a system where trains are late before they even exist. It's like a Michelin star chef being forced to work in a kitchen with no electricity, a leaking roof, and an assistant who thinks instant noodles count as fine dining. And while all this chaos happens, you have Indian commentators like Palki Sharma criticizing Indonesia's Whoosh high-speed rail project with China. She talks about debt traps and problems, the usual script. But guess what? Indonesia actually has a functioning high-speed train. People ride it. It exists. It works. Meanwhile, India's bullet train doesn't even have tracks yet. So the country criticizing others for debt and delays is literally drowning in both. You can't yell at your neighbor about their garden when your own house is still half built. But she plays into the nationalist hype, so of course many people watch and enjoy her program. What about China? Oh, China must be relieved they dodged this bullet, no pun intended. China builds high-speed rail like some people make instant coffee, fast, cheap, and everywhere. If they had gotten involved in the India project, it would have been a diplomatic migraine. The delays, the disputes, the protesting states, the political drama. It would have been a giant stain on China's reputation for efficiency. And honestly, China's high-speed rail dominance comes from building thousands of kilometers of track, not babysitting a stuck project for 10 years. They perfected the art of infrastructure by basically doing everything the opposite way. Easy land acquisition, great theoretical and technical expertise by learning from themselves and from others, stamping out bureaucratic corruption, and many other smaller things which all add up. If China ever did step in, and that's a massive if, you can bet they'd demand full payment up front. No sweet loans, no friendly terms, no we'll pay you back later. They would want India to accept all liabilities. Why? Because nobody wants their name attached to a project that moves slower than Mumbai traffic stuck behind a cow. The sad part is that India really could have used this project. It could have changed travel between two major economic hubs. It could have been a symbol of progress, a sign that India is moving forward, and a big political win for Modi. Instead, it became a symbol of everything wrong with mega projects in the country. The delays, the politics, the corruption, the lack of preparation, the lack of expertise, the slow decision-making, the cost overruns, and the over-promising while under-delivering. And that's how we ended up here. Japan is losing patience. The cost is going up. The technology gap is still huge. The land issues are never ending. And the timeline keeps stretching like an old rubber band about to snap. If this train ever runs, India might celebrate. But everyone else will be celebrating something else. The end of the world's longest construction drama. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.